You're living your day, moving forward calmly, everything seems to flow without problems. But suddenly there's an unpleasant comment, a situation you didn't expect, or a message where someone leaves you unread, and in an instant, your inner state changes. You're no longer at peace, you're no longer present. Now you feel irritated, frustrated, hurt, scattered. Why do we let insignificant details, unimportant people, or circumstances we cannot control steal our balance? Why do we give away our mental peace so quickly at the very first setback that crosses our path? We were taught wrong. They taught us that reacting is the same as being alive, that if something affects you, you must respond immediately, that if someone disrespects you, you must defend yourself, that if someone ignores you, you must seek attention. And that's how we end up emotionally exhausted, tied to the external, reacting impulsively, insecure. How long will you continue allowing the world to decide for you? At what point will you determine that your peace is not negotiable? Today I want to talk to you about authentic freedom. And no, it's not about doing whatever you want, but about not feeling the need to do it. It's looking at what used to hurt you and noticing that now it doesn't move a single fiber inside you. That is the strength that comes from conscious indifference, a cold, calm, solid power that turns you into a rock when everything else is shaking. If you can understand this and put it into practice, you will never be the same person again. What you're hearing right now is not just an episode, it's a lesson for life. And if you are truly seeking to transform your own life, then you've arrived at the right place. Welcome to Stoicism philosophy. Here we don't talk about superficial motivation, here we talk about real change. If you're ready to stop reacting like most people and begin responding like very few, subscribe now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. And stay until the end, because what you're about to hear can completely change the way you perceive the world and the way you face it. Let's begin. First lesson. The enemy is not the world, but the way you react to it. Look around you. We live in a real emotional battlefield. Everyone has an opinion, everyone raises their voice, everyone reacts impulsively. A driver cuts you off and the first thing you do is insult him. Your partner forgets something important and you interpret it as a lack of consideration. A friend takes too long to respond and you already begin doubting their loyalty. But tell me, do any of these things really matter that much? Or have you simply lost control over yourself? Most people are trapped in an endless chain of automatic reactions. They don't respond with clarity or wisdom, they respond from their most primitive impulses. Every external stimulus works like a switch that triggers an immediate reaction, as if we were emotional puppets without control over our own strings. Now, what happens if I tell you that you can cut those strings? That you can see someone trying to provoke you and still not react? That you can receive criticism without letting it crush you? That you can hear an insult and not be affected? That is the power of indifference. It is not apathy, it is control. It is self-mastery. Imagine this. Someone yells at you on the street. You have the option to respond with rage, with insults, or even physical aggression. Or you can simply observe, understand, that their attack belongs to them, not to you, and continue on your path in silence. Who holds more power in that situation? The one who explodes, or the one who keeps their impulse under control? True strength is not measured by who yells the loudest, but by who remains calm when everyone else has lost their sanity. And that serenity doesn't appear magically. It's forged through practice, discipline, and a firm decision. I will not give my peace away to anyone. In this modern world where social media amplifies every opinion, every comment, every comparison, developing indifference is practically a superpower. Because while others exhaust themselves trying to prove who they are, you simply are. You don't need validation. You don't need everyone to understand you. It's enough that you understand yourself. And it's at that point where true transformation begins. When you stop reacting to what comes from outside and start responding from within, from your center, from your strength. Second lesson, indifference is not coldness, it is wisdom. Many confuse indifference with disinterest, emotional hardness, or lack of empathy, but they're completely wrong. Authentic indifference comes from a deep understanding. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everything deserves your focus. Not everything even deserves a reaction. The world is full of traps disguised as provocations. They throw criticism at you to see if you explode. They test you with indifference to see if you lower yourself. They attack you with insults to see if you respond. And every time you fall into that game, you lose. Every time you react just the way they expect, they defeat you. But the strong man, the stoic man, the wise man, observes, breathes, and decides. He doesn't act out of obligation, he acts out of choice. Because he understands that life is not about fighting every battle, but about selecting with precision the few that truly matter. Here's where many collapse. Their ego roars, their pride burns, their need to prove they're right pushes them to respond, to clarify, to justify, to defend their position. But they don't realize that by doing so, they expose themselves, they drain themselves, they become vulnerable. A real soldier of the mind, a true strategist of his own life, knows that silence is sometimes the response with the greatest impact, and that not reacting doesn't mean surrendering, it means moving in another direction, a higher direction, a more conscious direction, a more powerful direction. The power of indifference is not about ignoring what happens, but recognizing it without letting it dominate you. It's seeing the game and choosing not to play. It's watching the play without becoming an actor. It's understanding that your energy is sacred and should not be wasted on what does not build you. When I speak of indifference, I'm speaking of emotional wisdom, elevated intelligence, of looking directly at conflict and choosing not to get involved. Because you're no longer at war with anyone. You're at peace with yourself. And that, believe me, is the most intimidating thing a person can be. This is where the wise ones of the past converge. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Not because of their famous quotes or writings, but because of what they embodied. Self-mastery, mental clarity, inner strength. And you too can walk that same path, but only if you choose to stop reacting like a wounded child and begin responding like a trained soldier. If you're truly committed to this path, prove it. Not with empty speeches, but with actions. Write in the comments, "I am a Stoic soldier." Do it, declare it, because the very act of writing it marks an agreement with yourself, an internal affirmation. And if this message is strengthening your mind, leave a like as a gesture of respect toward this knowledge. Now pay close attention because this continues. Third lesson, not everything deserves a response. Life will test you again and again. People who challenge you, situations that pressure you, words that hurt, but you're the one who decides whether you react or rise above. And I want you to engrave something in your mind. Not everything requires a response, not everything deserves your time, and not everything is worth your energy. We live in a society obsessed with always having the last word, as if staying silent were the same as giving up. But the truth is that many times the greatest victory is not even stepping onto the battlefield. When someone criticizes you, they expect you to be defensive. If you choose to stay silent, you disarm their attack. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect you to lose control. If you remain calm, you confront them with something they cannot dominate, your serenity. When someone speaks badly about you, they expect you to drop to their level, but if you don't, their poison stays only in their mouth. You decide whether you ingest it or leave it there. Most people respond out of fear. Fear of looking vulnerable, fear of being rejected, fear of being ignored. But real power lies in not responding from fear, but from consciousness, strategy, and clarity. Not everything deserves a response because not everything has value. There are conversations that add nothing, people who don't contribute, situations that only drain your energy. Why do you continue exposing yourself to them? Why do you keep giving your peace to those who have done nothing to deserve it? Don't misunderstand this. Indifference is not submission. It's not staying silent in the face of genuine injustice. It is not letting others walk over you. It's about choosing with precision when to act and when to let the world make noise without your participation. Sometimes your best move is not moving. Sometimes your best response is your silence. Sometimes the greatest demonstration of intelligence is doing nothing, because doing nothing is also a conscious choice. The soldier who tries to fight every battle burns out before reaching the one that truly matters. But the one who selects his wars arrives strong at the decisive moment, and that's where he makes the difference. You are not here to react to everything. You are here to control yourself, to look at the world and know that even if everything is in flames, you remain a rock. Fourth lesson: indifference as a tool of emotional self-defense. Listen carefully. If you don't learn to practice indifference in certain situations, the world will break you again and again. Indifference is not a whim. It's not optional. It's an essential tool for your mental health. It's a shield, a filter, an armor that protects you. Many believe that strength means facing everything, responding to every attack, getting involved in every argument. But no. True strength also appears when you choose to ignore what doesn't deserve your energy. When you close a door without having to justify yourself. When you keep moving forward without looking back. When you prioritize your peace over someone else's drama. Indifference is a deep form of self-care. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but protecting your inner world. It's about not letting everything affect you, about preventing the external from holding the power to destroy your stability. It's a healthy barrier that helps you stand firm in the midst of the emotional noise and chaos around you. Do you know what happens when you are too receptive? You fill yourself with emotional garbage. You absorb problems that aren't yours. You soak in other people's frustrations. You wear yourself out trying to please everyone, and you end up breaking inside simply because you didn't set boundaries. But when you develop indifference, you filter. You learn to differentiate what matters from what has no weight. What is authentic from what is irrelevant. What deserves your soul from what barely deserves a moment of your attention. And this applies to absolutely everything. People, criticism, opinions, rejections, comparisons. If you let everything affect you, then you're not living, you're just surviving. And that is not the path of a Stoic soldier. That is not your path. You must learn to let go without explanations, to release without resentment, to say, "This doesn't belong to me," and continue on your path. That is true freedom, inner freedom. Someone betrays you. Indifference. Someone envies you. Indifference. Someone underestimates you. Indifference. Because you're no longer fighting against the world. You are now focused on building your inner temple. And if something does not contribute to that construction, let it stay outside. Don't react. Don't justify yourself. Don't explain and don't lower yourself. Don't give anyone the power to manipulate your emotions as if you were a piece on their board. You are the board. You make the decisions. And when you decide with coldness, clarity, and firmness, the world begins to respect you. Fifth lesson. Transform your energy. Dominate your world. Here is the final key. The reason indifference not only protects you but also lifts you higher is this. When you stop wasting your energy on what has no value, you're left with energy available to build what truly does. Most people live emotionally exhausted, and not because they do too much, but because they think too much, feel too much, and react too much. They're drained, without strength, without focus, without clarity. And why does this happen? Because every day they give their energy to meaningless situations, and that energy that leaves doesn't come back. But what happens when you stop reacting to criticism, provocation, or rejection? You become filled with power. Power to move forward, power to create, power to rebuild yourself, power to train your mind, to organize your life, to improve your body, to heal your soul. That energy that used to be lost in useless arguments now becomes action, purpose, direction. It's like redirecting the flow of a river that once overflowed without control and now waters your inner garden. Indifference doesn't disconnect you from the world. On the contrary, it connects you with yourself. It helps you listen more precisely, see more clearly, act with more accuracy, because you're no longer distracted, no longer hurt, no longer unbalanced. Being indifferent doesn't mean not feeling. It means feeling and choosing what to do with what you feel. It's having the emotion but not letting it dominate you. It's having the thought but not letting it control you. It's living the situation but not letting it define you. And that, my friend, is real power. Silent power and invisible power, but unstoppable power. Train your indifference, practice it, develop it, because every time you choose not to react, you become stronger. And every time you become stronger, the world has less power over you. Remember something fundamental. You are not here to please anyone, nor to justify yourself, nor to defend yourself in front of just anyone. You are here to build yourself, to dominate your inner world, to be the firm pillar in the midst of chaos, to be that soldier who doesn't need to shoot because his very presence inspires respect. And if you've made it this far, if you're listening to this with full attention, then you're already walking that path. The path of those who chose to evolve, the path of those who chose to fight, the path of those who chose to become stronger. And if you're truly committed to your transformation, subscribe now. Here we fight together, we grow together, we evolve together.